a lot to say. Today it was 6 minutes and 37 seconds, so we'll try it. Okay. In 1998, Mary Steiner Whalen and her daughter Shannon traveled to Africa and met the people living in Kenya and Uganda's poorest villages. Mary, a writer, extended her stay and started listening to the stories of the people in Kenya and Uganda. Mary was at a ferry crossing one day when a boy, begging with his mother, who was blind, thrust her hand into that of Mary's. Mary gave the woman some money, and then Elijah, who Mary had recently met, sitting next to her, spoke up. "It is nice you give us a few shillings once in a while, but what we need is access to information and education. We need someone to give us wings." Mary's direction was changed forever, and Elijah got a job. Mary returned to the US, and Give Us Wings was started in the living room of 10 friends who decided to do something to make a difference. Elijah's statement exemplifies Give Us Wings' uniqueness compared to other NGOs working in Africa. Maybe not in this group, though. Money is not always the first thing that is needed. More money on its own has been shown time and time again not to be the entire solution. Give Us Wings works together with adults and children in Kenya and Uganda to eradicate poverty. We believe that only through person-to-person support, both financial and educational, will people overcome poverty and become self-sufficient. We work in 3 areas in Kenya, Ngong, Ukunda, and Yoga, and 1 in Uganda, Tororo. We work with these communities partly because of Mary's earlier trips and the relationships that developed, but mostly because these areas invited us to work with them. Without their willingness to work with us, the projects would never succeed. In these 4 areas, we support a variety of projects that support economic development and meet the medical and educational needs of those in the villages. All programs are supported in order to meet the goal of becoming self-sufficient. In each of these areas we work, there are a variety of groups formed. One group is the Neo-Bear Women's Group Project, a group of 32 women in Tororo, Uganda. The women met in the bush and were already formed in a group when Mary met them 9 years ago. Give Us Wings had very little money to give at that time, so it gave hope and supported the women in their growth. This group stayed together, looked out for one another, and those with homes invited those without to share their floors. This relationship slowly developed from a small donation of rice into organic farming training and literacy training. It grew from a relationship where the women were compliant with Give Us Wings in order to keep the peace, to the current ruckus meetings where the women say what they think and control their own development. 7 years after having met these women, a larger project was begun. The women purchased land, established a community farm, and are building 32 small homes. These women's commitment to each other, work, and Give Us Wings has enabled us together to move these families to a life of health, self-sufficiency, and safety. This project took 9 years and still continues. Another group is the family group in Ukunda, Kenya. This is made up of a variety of different families. It is primarily a microfinance project in order to help the families start and run businesses. Medical care is also provided for the families upon their request, so they are able to stay healthy and support each other. This group, prior to microfinance, received leadership, gender, business, and group dynamics training. 2 different groups, 2 completely different projects. Give Us Wings works together with adults and children in Kenya and Uganda to eradicate poverty. This is good development, together. I've seen projects that have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars that have failed because no one spoke to the community to ask them what they needed. A pump is built in the wrong spot, a home built in the wrong area, a vehicle entrusted to the wrong person. The wasteful projects are sadly too numerous. These other nonprofits and NGOs mean well and want to help, but forget to include the most important group, the people, at the discussion table. 2 things that must be realized for good development. 1, we do not know what is best for people, they do. So we listen, we discuss, and we like to think our role is to connect them to the information they need and supply some of the resources. We must always have, number 2, we must always have respect for those we work with. I heard a phrase the other day from a woman commenting on our Western wealth that really struck me. She said that we are living the way we live because we were lucky enough to have won the birth lottery. That is the only difference. These communities are struggling due to lack of information and resource that we as Americans cannot even imagine. They may have different life experience, cultural backgrounds, and religious beliefs. What works here for us may not work there for them. That is why we must listen and learn from, and then work together with these communities until the projects are truly sustainable and true to the community they are meant to help. This year, Give Us Wings has raised funds for our largest project and potentially most life-changing. The need for the project was clear, but only after research and true community involvement was achieved were the funds raised for the project. To have done it any other way would not achieve a sustainable project for this community. Neoga gets its water to drink, to clean, and to cook directly from Lake Victoria. Lake Victoria is polluted and infested with disease. The community is sick and tired because of their water. Give Us Wings has had a water committee in Neoga that has been together for over 6 years. Through this group, we have studied the water, the needs of the community, and found the best way to bring clean water to Neoga. We have been a part of the community for over 9 years, and the community is invested in the project. In March, we raised over $100,000, and the first phase of the pipe-treated water project has begun. The economic impact of this project to the area will be immeasurable. Women will no longer walk 2 hours to the lake, children will no longer have diarrhea from the pollution in the water, and soon irrigation will be possible, and along with organic farming and business training, fields will prosper. The people of Neoga will have changed their lives for the better. What is most needed for good development? Money, time, commitment, respect. The same solution for so many problems in the world. With a good development model, what is the solution counted in money and time for bringing clean water to the tens of thousands in this area that need it most? For this, we need $2 million and 10 years. The logistics are easy. The real work will be to work with the communities so they are prepared to make the change, to pay a small amount of water, to have a small amount for water, to have a system in place to collect the money, to know how to repair the pipes. The community must be actively involved to keep the project sustainable. The community must own the project. The solution will take a lot of money and time, but it would work. Think, 10-year-olds living in these villages right now would grow up to raise healthy kids who can attend school, receive an education, and go on to do what we do all the time. It's a simple solution to change so many lives.